So, you have heard me mention the Maasai tribe many times now. And naturally, as time progressed, we were working with the tribe as well. Many of the Maasai live in great poverty and they don't have access to clean water, medical care.
Great Spirit, for my sister, let me be a flowing river. Flood the banks, the rocks that bind her, carry, I'll carry.
And over time I became very close with them. So much so that the chief of the tribe, in fact, named his son John after myself because I helped to deliver him. Thought I'd put on our Maasai clothing for this one, but our westernized Maasai clothing. I can't let this chapter go out without telling you the most important lesson that the Maasai have ever taught me, because it will be the most important lesson you can learn from them as well. The culture of the Maasai means that as human beings they are completely different to myself as a European and most of us listening to this. The developed world creates certain poisons inside us that we don't even know are poisons. They are what we deem as a way of life. The Maasai, if you don't know about them, they traditionally live on just meat, milk and blood. And that's because you can't grow anything where they live. There are persons who fight for animal rights back in the West who say it's disgusting that a human being drinks the milk of a cow. They say it's disgusting because a human should never suck on the teat of a cow. When you live in a Maasai village and you see the mothers running and chasing the children who are stealing milk directly from the udder of the cow, because they don't see it as unsanitary, because these cows are loved by them, then you see a different connection. There's no separation between them and the animals. When you see that traditional way of life, and I'm talking the traditional Maasai, not those infected by capitalism, there's a difference there. The men are raised to be fearless. You're talking about men who, not so many generations back, my best friend in the Maasai is the first spear on a lion, meaning that a lion attacked his cows and using nothing but one of these, which is a war club carved from ebony, and a spear, he had to fight a lion. This is a different primal aspect of the human journey that we have long forgotten and disconnected from. These are men who can chase lion off a kill to steal some of its meat before they realise they've been tricked and come back and chase the Maasai off it. These are men who play buckaroo with a rhinoceros. I kid you not. There's a different style of living. I remember rescuing dogs. It's been a laugh a minute. Really it has. I remember rescuing dogs and Maasai 4 warriors turning up with puppies, and I said, where have you rescued those from? And they hadn't rescued them. They'd walked into someone's house who they felt wasn't caring for them as well as I would and took them. So it was rescued by force, and of course they never complained because Maasai are the most feared tribe in Africa. So these are our security, and these guys are all they're all Maasai Marans warriors, and these puppies you can see here, they felt were being mistreated in the village, so they stole them and brought them here. They rescued them, but they have stole them. But the state of one of them, they would have died if they hadn't actually. So there is a huge difference. The sovereignty of a European versus the sovereignty of a Maasai is a completely different thing. But because of this, I see a divine masculine rising up. Something, a sacred divine masculine. And it's not perfect. by any measure. I'm not going to sell you the idea of the noble tribesman that's super connected, because it's every fault of a human exists in the tribe as well. But what I can say is this, that I have witnessed a brotherhood in the tribe that is absent from the West. Because back in the West, we are told that we are supposed to fight for sole independence of our lives. And we are only the second or third generation to do that in the human journey. Because prior to that, we fought, not as individuals. The odd one of us can carve a life that way, but most are not cut from the right cloth, so they're lost. We fought as families, as villages, as tribes to get ahead. When you go to the traditional Maasai communities where you have these strong men, you have these men who deal with very primal aspects of the human journey, like fighting lions with their spears when they come after their animals to protect the food source for their children, etc. When you go there, you don't see people without. You don't see someone in the village who doesn't have a house, who doesn't have something to eat. You don't see it because they fight to be a good member of the tribe. They don't fight to hoard individual wealth and independence. And I believe, as I watch the capitalist system encroach upon the other tribes that I know and the other clans that I know, I see very clearly that that same poison of us fighting for financial independence, fighting for individual wealth, is poisoning the Maasai just as it poisoned we Europeans. Because the hoarding of wealth becomes a normality, instead of creating yourself to be a good and just member of your tribe, a good provider, a true warrior. A true warrior fights for those who can't fight for themselves before they fight for themselves. And that's the greatest lesson. The brotherhood, the love. It's very deep. And it's deeper than what I've often known from other men in the world. You'll hear later in my journey, in this story, a chapter about my health crisis. But I'll give a snippet to that now. There was a time I had a cardiac problem and I was airlifted to Kenya. As the emergency vehicle arrived to get me, agony in my chest, there was a Maasai there who I'm close with. And he refused to leave my side. He would not speak a word, but he did not leave my side. And the emergency vehicle was full, and he pushed his way in. He was not leaving my side, and he wound up sitting on somebody's knee in the back of the car. And even as I took off in this air ambulance from this small airfield at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro, he was still standing at the gate, watching. This was a great love, a great compassion, and I believe it comes from having accessed the full spectrum of what a human potentially can be. Because when you have wrestled a lion one-on-one, when you've lived in that primal side of you, it's almost natural that your shadow is integrated. And yet for us, we must do the work to even acknowledge it's there. But when you know your whole self, you can love with your whole self. And that's the greatest lesson I'll ever take from the Maasai. Eventually, I received a call from the tribe and they said, "John, we want you to become Maasai. We want to have a ceremony and a blessing to make you and your family Maasai and to become a part of the tribe and under our protection forever." And so, my wife and my son, Fritzi and Aslan, we all went for this ceremony, and I was gifted the name Alaretoni.
John, he has got a Maasai name with the clan, so he's going to be called Alaretoni, and the surname is Liza, the common Maasai clan name.
And this means in Kimasai, he who helps our people.
Give it the name you call Ndawo. Was Iceland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. My relationship with this beautiful tribe has enriched me. I truly found my tribe in life in that sense. It has been a phenomenal journey to be able to be with one of the last indigenous cultures on the planet. I very much know that the native tribes of the planet have a great wisdom, and certainly some of the Native American tribes did. The Hopi had a prophecy of the blue star Kachina, and in that prophecy they said that the youth of the planet will grow their hair long and go to live with the last indigenous tribes of the planet and learn their ways. This couldn't describe any better what happened with myself once 11/11 showed up, and the Hopi too speak of 11/11.
Great Spirit, I have had it. Bring me back to the nomadic way of weaving through the damage. Mindful, stay mindful. Great Spirit, for my sisters, let me be a flowing river. Flood the banks, the rocks that bind her. Carry, I'll carry. Great Spirit, oh, great Spirit. Great Spirit, for my brothers, let me be a mountain under which he climbs to discover his process. Now that's progress. Great Spirit, all that hinders, tie reminders to my fingers. I must speak with you more often. Horse tail, we can heal it all with that medicine. Body, mind, and spirit crying slow down, slow down, slow down. Light it up.